Every morning, Maki walks into school unnoticed. No friends, no conversations, just another face in the crowd. But today is different. While he passes through the hallway, Uemami, the prettiest girl in the class, walks by with her group. Right behind her is Umi, the second prettiest girl. She is calm, elegant, and just as admired. For a brief second, Umi turns and smiles at him. No one notices, but Maki does. Because hidden behind that simple smile is a secret, they're already messaging each other. On the first day of class, their homeroom teacher Mikiyagi asks everyone to fill out personal profile sheets. It's supposed to be simple, until she randomly picks one to read aloud. It's Maki's. The room suddenly feels too big, too quiet. He stands awkwardly as his answers are read out. He spends weekends alone, playing games while his mother is out. He likes shark movies, alligator movies, things no one else really cares about. A few students react, but most lose interest quickly, except one person, Umi. She listens. Then comes Yu's turn. Bright, confident, and full of energy, she owns the room instantly. She talks about her past, her unique hair, and casually reveals she transferred schools with her best friend. Then she hugs Umi. The message is clear. These two are untouchable. Umi introduces herself next, calm and graceful. Within minutes, the class is already drawn to them. Everyone knows it. They're the center of attention now. And Maki, still invisible. Days pass. Yu and Umi easily blend into school life, surrounded by laughter and friends. Meanwhile, Maki eats alone, walks home alone, lives alone in his own quiet world. He tells himself it's fine. But when he sees groups of friends laughing together, he can't help but wonder what that feels like. One afternoon, he overhears Yu inviting Umi to hang out. Umi refuses. She says she wants to watch a movie instead. When Yu sees the movie, she loses interest immediately. It's strange, not her type at all. But Maki notices something important. That movie is exactly his kind of movie. For the first time, he feels like someone out there might actually understand him. Later that day, inside a video rental shop, Maki reaches for a movie and accidentally bumps into someone. It's Umi. Their first real conversation begins here. At first, it's awkward. Maki tries to keep things short, but Umi doesn't leave. Instead, she smiles and says something unexpected. She came here to talk to him. To prove it, she shows him her profile sheet. Many of her answers match his, but she admits the truth. She changed them. After hearing him speak in class, she realized she related to him more than she expected. Maki is stunned. No one has ever done something like that for him before. She asks him to recommend a movie. He does. She laughs at the cover but listens seriously. As they talk, something slowly changes. Maki, who can barely hold a conversation, starts to relax. And when Umi mentions she likes a movie he loves, that's it. That's the moment everything shifts. For the first time in a long while, Maki makes a friend. Now, that secret friendship has grown. Umi casually visits Maki's apartment like it's the most natural thing in the world. She brings snacks, guesses his food order perfectly, and makes herself at home. They play games together for hours. Umi confidently says she'll win. She doesn't. Not even close. She loses again and again, getting more frustrated each time, while Maki quietly enjoys himself. Still, they laugh, argue, and keep playing like it never matters who wins. Later, while cleaning up, Umi teases him for staring at her. He panics, tries to explain, and only makes it worse. She laughs, pokes his stomach, then suddenly tickles him just to see his reaction. It's playful, comfortable, real. Before leaving, she pauses and says something that changes everything again. Let's go out on Friday. Not stay inside, not play games. Go out, like normal high school students. Maki freezes. Outside? With her? Just the two of them? Umi explains she wants him to experience real life. Shopping, eating out, having fun. She even admits she feels bad always coming to his place. So this time, she'll take him out. Maki hesitates. Not because he doesn't want to go, but because of one thing. What if someone sees us? Their friendship is a secret. Umi just smiles. She throws one last joke over her shoulder. If we get caught, we'll just say we're dating. Maki turns red instantly. She's already gone. At home, Maki tells his mother Masaki about his plans. Her reaction? Shock. She thinks he's being bullied. When he explains the truth that he actually has a friend, her expression completely changes. Relief, happiness, pride. She gives him extra money without hesitation. For her, this moment means everything. Her son is no longer alone. The next day, Maki and Umi message each other. She jokes that he should pay for everything. He refuses, insisting they split the cost. At school, nothing has changed on the surface. Umi laughs with her friends, talks like normal, acts like Maki doesn't exist. But behind her back, she secretly signals to him, a small, hidden gesture, a reminder their connection is still there. Later during lunch, Maki sits alone as usual. Then he hears something, Umi's voice. He looks over and sees her talking to a senior student. Not wanting to get involved, he quickly gathers his things to leave, but suddenly, Yu and Nina appear out of nowhere. They've noticed too, and they're excited. They want to watch. Before Maki can even respond, they grab him and pull him into hiding with them. And just as they expected, the senior finally speaks and asks Umi out. Hidden nearby, Maki, Yu, and Nina watch in silence. Umi doesn't hesitate. She turns him down. Calm, direct. No room for misunderstanding. The senior pushes a little further, asking if she already likes someone else. Umi pauses, then says no. From the shadows, Nina sighs in relief. She already knew the answer. The guy has a reputation for being a player. Even Yu admits he once asked her out too. For Maki, this whole moment feels strange. He's not used to being part of something like this. Watching, listening, being pulled into other people's lives. Umi quickly leaves, clearly not wanting to stay any longer. The others follow. But just before leaving, Yu suddenly grabs Maki's phone and saves her number. Maki freezes. Now he's not just hiding one secret. He's hiding many. Later, at Maki's apartment, Umi is already there like always. Comfortable, relaxed, like she belongs. Maki brings up what happened earlier. He admits he overheard the confession and apologizes. Umi brushes it off. Then the conversation shifts. She asks if she is popular. Maki thinks about it. Of course she is. Maybe not as much as you, but still, she's someone everyone notices. Days pass, and suddenly it's Friday, the day of their not a date. At school, Umi awkwardly tries to leave early, making excuses to her friends. She is clearly excited, even if she tries to hide it. Nina immediately teases her, suggesting she might have a boyfriend. Yu looks slightly worried. Umi shuts it down quickly, but her reaction says enough. At the station, Maki waits nervously, adjusting his clothes and overthinking everything. Then, Umi arrives. For a second, Maki doesn't recognize her. She is dressed casually, simple, natural, different from her usual school image, and somehow even more beautiful. She notices his all-black outfit and laughs, teasing his terrible fashion sense, before casually mentioning he should dress better next time. The words linger in his mind. There is going to be a next time. They start their day together at a shop filled with anime goods. It is Maki's kind of place, not Umi's usual scene, but she enjoys it because she is with him. As they walk, Umi suddenly complains about his formality. She wants him to speak casually, without distance or politeness. Maki struggles, but agrees on one condition: she has to call him by his first name too. Umi looks away, embarrassed, saying not yet. Still, something shifts. They become more relaxed, more natural. They stop for lunch, keeping things simple with burgers and fries. They talk about movies again, and Umi brings up a ridiculous one about a flying shark with angel wings. The G is terrible, and the story makes no sense, but Maki is instantly interested. Umi suggests they watch it together next time. Again, that phrase lingers. Next time. Maki hesitates, asking if it is really okay. Umi simply reminds him that Fridays are free. At a nearby table, some girls from school start whispering about Umi, judging her and questioning her image. Umi hears everything and suddenly smiles. She leans forward and asks Maki to help her. Before he can react, she raises her voice and acts like they are on a date, prompting him to play along. Awkwardly, he does. The girls quickly lose interest, convinced it cannot be her. It works. But Umi is not entirely happy, and Maki gently stops her from escalating things as they leave. To lighten the mood, they head to an arcade where everything feels easy again. They play games, laugh, and compete. Umi manages to hit a baseball while Maki misses completely. For once, he is the one losing, and he does not mind at all. As the day ends, Maki reflects on how unreal everything feels. Then suddenly, Yu and her friends appear in front of him. Panic sets in. Nina barely recognizes him, while Yu innocently invites him to join them, unaware of the tension. Maki quickly realizes the truth behind their reaction and understands why Umi keeps her world separate. So he makes a choice. He politely refuses, explaining that forcing himself into their group would only ruin the mood. Then he runs. At the station, he meets Umi again and she thanks him. For the first time, she opens up about her past, about being surrounded by people yet never truly understood. That is why she approached him, because she believed he might understand. On the train, they quietly argue over a seat until Maki gives in. Umi apologizes for earlier, but he reassures her. She smiles, gently patting his head and encouraging him to rest. As he drifts off, she softly says his name, trying something new. Monday arrives, and everything nearly falls apart. Yu approaches Maki in front of the class and apologizes loudly. The room goes silent. Whispers spread. The secret begins to crack. After school, Maki ends up walking with both Umi and Yu, carefully maintaining appearances. Nina secretly follows them, and when she is discovered, they all run. Maki grabs Yu's hand and pulls her along before splitting up, running with Umi. Eventually, they regroup at Maki's apartment, where there is no escaping the truth. Everything is revealed. The secret friendship, the lies, the hiding. Umi listens, then lightly taps both their foreheads in quiet punishment. She is not angry, only slightly hurt. Yu apologizes sincerely, and Maki does the same, explaining that he struggles with groups and only wanted to protect what he already had. Yu understands, realizing how much that friendship means to him. Both Maki and Umi blush. Umi tries to move past the moment, but Yu steps forward, extends her hand and asks Maki to be friends. Maki steps into class next morning, expecting another quiet day. But before he can even sit down, Yu, the prettiest girl in school, walks straight up to him and greets him like it's completely normal. Maki barely manages to respond. Then, Umi joins them. Her eyes move between the two, sharp and curious. She questions when Yu started calling him by his first name. Yu smiles brightly and explains they talked things out and are now friends. The room erupts into whispers. No one believes it. Why would someone like Yu ever be friends with someone like Maki? Even Nina tries to push for answers, but Yu dodges every question. Meanwhile, Maki quietly checks his phone. A message from Umi appears, apologizing for Yu's behavior. Just like that, his peaceful life is gone. At lunch, things get even stranger. Maki ends up leading both Yu and Umi to a hidden spot, his usual place for quiet meals. Now, instead of silence, he sits with the two most popular girls in class. Earlier, Yu had suddenly asked to eat with him. Umi noticed his discomfort and stepped in, but instead of stopping it, Yu invited her too. Now the three of them sit together in an unexpected scene. Yu immediately notices Maki's lunch. It looks homemade and carefully prepared. She asks about it with surprise, and Maki confirms he made it himself since his mother Masaki is often busy. Yu eagerly asks to trade food, and Umi watches closely before trying a bite of his omelet. Her reaction is instant. It is genuinely good. For a brief moment, Umi seems almost unsure of herself. Maki's quiet skill reveals something new. The conversation continues, and Yu becomes even more excited when Maki casually mentions he also makes sweets, including a successful banana souffle pancake. Yu is amazed, finding it hard to believe. Maki brushes it off as easier than it sounds, but Yu immediately wants to try it. Without hesitation, she asks to visit his home after school and invites Umi along. Maki pauses briefly before agreeing. Yu rushes off to buy drinks, leaving Maki and Umi alone. Umi watches Yu leave and quietly comments that Yu is a good person. Maki agrees, beginning to see it for himself. But Umi adds a quiet warning. Being close to someone like Yu brings attention, rumors, and pressure. Maki does not seem concerned. He has always been an outsider. Still, Umi tells him to let her know if anything happens, aware of how unpredictable things can become. After school, they arrive at Maki's apartment, where he prepares the banana souffle pancakes. The moment Yu takes a bite, her expression changes completely. Umi tries them as well, and both are visibly impressed. Yu admits she struggles with cooking, often failing even simple recipes. Umi laughs, recalling a past disaster involving chocolates. During the conversation, Maki learns they both attended an all-girls school before transferring, explaining their close bond. Soon, they move on to games. Yu picks up the controller for the first time and improves quickly, too quickly. She discovers a strong move and manages to defeat Umi, then Maki as well. Even Maki finds it impressive. As he and Yu laugh together, Umi quietly observes. Something about the space between them feels slightly unfamiliar, as if something subtle has shifted. Later that evening, As the girls prepare to leave, Yu suddenly remembers she wants to treat Maki next time. Umi suggests she simply ask him. Yu calls him directly and asks if he is free on Friday. Maki responds that he already has plans. Yu is surprised but accepts it. Standing beside her, Umi feels a quiet tension in her chest, knowing exactly what those plans are. Without saying anything further, Umi turns back and rushes to Maki's apartment. When he opens the door, she appears flustered and out of breath. Before he can react, she steps forward and pinches his nose, telling him she will see him tomorrow. Then she runs off, leaving him confused by the sudden moment. The next day, things return to normal. Umi is back at Maki's apartment, relaxed as ever. They play games, talk about manga, and spend time quietly. At one point, Maki mentions buying the final volume of a romance series. Umi immediately loses interest in the game and suggests they read it together. They sit side by side, turning page after page until they reach the ending, both quietly emotional. Not satisfied, Umi wants to start again from the beginning. They spend hours reading together, completely absorbed. Eventually, Maki gets up to make coffee, but when he returns, he finds Umi asleep on his bed, peaceful and at ease. He watches her briefly before sitting beside her, and before long, he falls asleep as well. Time passes until a voice wakes him. Still half asleep, Maki assumes it is Umi, but when he opens his eyes, he sees his mother Masaki. She looks at him, then at the girl sleeping nearby. Silence fills the room before she calmly asks for an explanation. After everything is explained, Masaki contacts Umi's parents. When the call ends, she smiles, and it is decided that Umi will stay the night. Umi takes a shower, but the spare clothes do not fit, leaving her to wear Maki's clothes instead. When she returns, he is caught off guard by how different she looks, more relaxed, more natural. He decides to sleep in the living room, but Umi stops him and asks him to stay and talk. They sit together, joking lightly before Maki brings up whether they should tell Yu the truth about their hidden friendship. Umi considers it carefully before deciding not yet. She wants to choose the right moment. Maki accepts this without hesitation. That night, as he prepares to leave, Umi quietly wishes him good night, admitting she felt nervous saying it. Maki feels the weight of the moment, realizing how meaningful such a simple exchange has become. The next day, Maki visits Umi's home to apologize. Her mother, Sora, welcomes him warmly, showing clear interest and teasing curiosity. She already knows about him and seems pleased. Umi tries to stop her, embarrassed, but Sora continues, joking about their relationship. Umi reacts instantly, flustered, while Maki struggles to respond. In the end, Sora simply asks him to take care of her, and Maki agrees without hesitation. Back at school, the class prepares for the upcoming sports festival, but no one volunteers for roles, leading to a random draw. Maki is selected, and the reaction is immediate. Complaints, laughter, and dismissive remarks. Some students suggest whoever is paired with him will have to take care of him. Even Nina feels uncomfortable with the reaction. Umi remains silent, though internally she is clearly upset. Then the girls draw their lots. One by one, they avoid the role until Yu steps forward. She looks around the room and asks a simple question about why everyone dislikes Maki so much, and the class falls silent. She then directly asks the teacher if she can join the executive committee because she wants to work alongside Maki. Although the teacher prefers to follow the lottery system without exceptions, she asks Maki for his opinion, and he calmly says he has no objections. Meanwhile, Umi draws and reveals that she got selected in the lottery and says whoever draws the lot gets the job. Yu argues that she said she would volunteer, but Umi quickly stops her, realizing she is reacting emotionally after seeing Maki being put on the spot. Umi tells her that her apology should be directed to the entire class, not just one person. Yu apologizes to everyone, including Maki, and he assures her that he was never upset. After that is settled, Umi finalizes the committee lineup, and it will comprise her and Maki. They sit down, and Maki praises Umi for handling the earlier situation well, but Umi insists that Yu deserves the credit. She points out that Yu ignored the atmosphere in the room and stood up for someone important to her without hesitation, something that even left an impression on Maki. After school, Yu thanks Umi for stepping in earlier, admitting she might have made things worse if she had continued arguing. Umi, however, thanks Yu for defending her. The next day, as class representative, Umi announces that their class will hold an exhibition during the cultural festival. Although the maid calf proposal was rejected, she encourages everyone by suggesting that successful cooperation could earn them permission to wear cosplay. The idea quickly motivates the class, and when she asks for suggestions, Maki proposes creating a large large mosaic made from recycled cans. Afterward, Maki thanks Umi for being his partner and jokes that working with Yu would have been exhausting because of her intensity. Umi laughs before admitting that she secretly manipulated the lottery to secure her position beside him. Although surprised, Maki chooses not to make an issue of it and quietly accepts her decision. The following day, the group begins collecting and sorting cans for the project. While testing different designs, they worry that the mosaic looks too simple, but Maki decides they should move forward. During the work, Yu complains about how dirty many of the cans are, but the mood lightens when she notices a manga and volunteers to draw its cover. Her finished artwork impresses everyone and reveals a talent they never expected. Watching Yu effortlessly display such skill makes Umi feel insecure about her own abilities. Still, she pushes those feelings aside and continues managing the project, and as the group spends more time together, they also reflect on how unfairly they treated Maki in the past and decide to support him more sincerely moving forward. Maki continues working on the mosaic and struggles to convert Yu's illustration into a proper can art design. Needing another perspective, he invites Umi to his apartment to help him finish the project. The two make steady progress before taking a short break to play video games together. However, the relaxed atmosphere is interrupted when Yu unexpectedly discovers them hanging out alone. Hurt that Umi kept the meeting a secret, she confronts her friend. But Umi refuses to explain herself and quietly leaves. Although everyone acts normal the next day, the tension remains. Realizing that Umi has been avoiding him, Maki asks to speak with her privately. Umi explains that her relationship with Maki should remain secret for now, and admits she has been struggling with feelings she is not ready to discuss. When Maki assures her that he will not pressurize her, she stops him from leaving and hugs him from behind. She tells him that his kindness is one of his greatest strengths, but also something that can be exploited. Admitting that she may be acting selfishly herself, she asks whether he will listen when she is finally ready to tell him everything. Maki agrees, and Umi asks him to wait until after the festival so she can sort out her feelings. She also promises to talk to Yu about everything that has been happening. The cultural festival ends successfully. The completed mosaic is a success, and afterward, Maki and Umi spend time together, with Maki even taking her hand. Later, Yu brings several girls from her former school to see the exhibit, but the visit takes an unexpected turn when Umi refuses to call them her friends. Sensing the confusion around her reaction, Umi begins opening up about her past and the complicated feelings she has been carrying for a long time. In elementary school, Umi was close friends with Manaka and Sanae when she noticed a lonely girl named Yu sitting by herself. After following her to a park, she learned that Yu had just moved to town and had no friends because she had been bullied at her previous school for her unusual hair and eye color. Wanting to help, Umi held out her hand, declared herself Yu's first friend, and promised they would walk home together. Umi soon introduced Yu to Monica and Sanae, and all four became inseparable. Thanks to Umi, Yu realized making friends was not as difficult as she had feared and gradually became cheerful and outgoing. Things changed in middle school. Yu was happy to share a class with Umi, but became sad that Monica and Sanae were placed elsewhere. Umi reassured her that she would never be lonely as long as she stayed herself, and that prediction quickly proved true. Yu made friends everywhere she went, and although Umi occasionally felt left out, she never thought much of it until she overheard classmates admiring Yu's beauty and envying the person closest to her. Only then did Umi realize that Yu had become the star of their year and that everyone wanted the place beside her. Rumors spread that Umi did not deserve to be Yu's best friend. Hoping to reunite the group, she planned a movie outing, but Manaka and Sanae claimed they were busy. On the weekend, she went to see the movie alone and unexpectedly found the three of them hanging out together. Hidden nearby, she overheard them admit that they had lied to Yu and told her Umi wanted to study. Even worse, Yu had never bothered to confirm it with her. At that moment, Umi realized that her friends did not care about her at all and only wanted to replace her in Yu's life. Back in the present, Umi finally admits that she lied about their old school's expensive tuition because she wanted to escape those friendships and start over somewhere new. She never expected Yu to transfer with her. Yu explains that she followed because they are best friends and insists that although she cares about many people, Umi will always be her priority. Instead of comforting her, those words only hurt more. Umi reveals that she confronted Manaka and Sanae at graduation, and they openly admitted that they wanted to become closer to Yu than she was. Their friendship friendship ended that day. Since then, she has believed that despite Yu's popularity, she is the only person she can truly call a friend, because everyone else eventually becomes more interested in Yu. Maki finally understands why Umi wanted to keep their friendship secret. She was terrified of losing the one friendship she felt belonged only to her. Umi asks Yu if she loves her, and Yu answers without hesitation. Umi admits that she loves Yu too, but also hates her just as much, then runs away before saying anything else. Yu almost follows, but Maki volunteers instead and finds Umi hiding in an abandoned classroom. He lightly jokes about her sulking, then sits beside her and praises her for carrying those feelings alone for so long and handling everything as well as she did. Umi begins crying and asks for more praise, so Maki gently pats her head and lets her finally be vulnerable. Elsewhere, Nina finds Yu on the rooftop and encourages her to talk. To her surprise, Yu admits that she needs to become more considerate of other people's feelings. Back in the classroom, Umi realizes she has become exactly like the friends she resented. By intentionally excluding Yu, she repeated the same behavior that once hurt her. Maki suggests they spend some time apart so she can repair her friendship with Yu, but quickly assures her that he is not ending their friendship. Before he can continue, Umi covers his mouth and asks whether he would miss her if they stopped hanging out. He honestly admits that he would. Those words finally clear her mind, and she asks him to return to the rooftop with her. The two return hand in hand, prompting Yu to comment on how close they have become. Umi agrees and admits that although their friendship is still new, Maki already means a lot to her. When Yu asks if he means more than she does, Umi says there is no ranking between them and apologizes for hiding everything. Yu finally snaps and calls her an idiot, admitting that she was terrified their friendship was falling apart and even feared that Maki had replaced her. The two embrace and finally understand each other. Umi then reveals that she and Maki plan to stop hanging out for a while, but Yu immediately rejects the idea and says she would only feel guilty. Instead, she proposes that all three of them become friends. Later, Umi and Maki find themselves walking around school while holding hands because Yu insists it will help them become proper friends. Nina eagerly takes pictures, and Umi drags the terrified Maki into a haunted house just to laugh at his reaction before buying him a cola afterward. As they admire their mosaic art, Umi notices Yu talking with Manaka and Sane and smiles. Later, Yu joins Umi and Maki at his house and quietly observes their usual hangout, trying so hard to stay unnoticed that they completely forget she is there. After losing a game, Umi admits that she has too much fun with Maki and wants to continue spending Fridays with him. Yu happily agrees, relieved that there are no more secrets between them. When Yu leaves, she insists that Umi stay because Maki might feel lonely otherwise. Afterward, Umi and Maki watch a movie together. When he sneezes, she shares her blanket with him, and he nervously moves closer until their shoulders touch. Umi asks if she can call him by his first name, and he agrees before calling her Umi in return. Caught off guard, she lightly smacks him while smiling. Gathering his courage, Maki admits that she looks prettiest when she smiles. Flustered, Umi hides her embarrassment by teasing him and asking if he is in love with her. As he walks her home, she suddenly asks if he really likes her. Unable to understand what she means, he hesitates. Umi then admits that the answer is complicated and says she does not think her feelings are romantic. Before he can dwell on those words, she suddenly kisses his cheek, tells him that she loves him, and promises that a kiss on the lips can happen once he finally admits that he likes her back. With that, she heads inside, leaving Maki completely conflicted. In a dreamlike memory, Maki sees his mother crying, while his father, Itsuki, prepares to leave. He calls out to him, but Itsuki only pats his head before walking away. Maki suddenly wakes up and realizes he is having the nightmare again. The memories had disappeared in high school, but Umi's confession brought them back. Maki knows he loves Umi and wants to return her feelings, yet his parents' divorce taught him that love can disappear. Although her confession made him happy, he does not think he is ready to become the boyfriend she deserves. Just then, Umi sends him a good morning message, and he decides to become worthy of her feelings first. They walk to school together, and Maki explains why he has not answered her confession. Umi jokingly says it sounds like he is keeping her as a backup option. Maki quickly denies it before realizing it really does sound that way. Laughing, Umi says she is not worried because she knows she is still number one in his heart. Noticing his badly cracked lips, she applies lip balm for him. Maki freezes and nervously asks if it is the one she uses. Umi immediately teases him about an indirect kiss before revealing that it is actually a new tube. She gives it to him and jokingly says they can share lip balm once their relationship progresses further. At school, Yu hugs Umi, while Nina greets Maki by calling him class representative, a nickname he earned after their class display won a special award during the school festival. Nina bluntly asks if Maki and Umi are dating. Umi immediately turns red and denies it, while Yu points out how awkward she has been acting around him lately. During the commotion, Nozomu quietly watches Maki interacting with the girls. Later, Maki asks Umi about her Christmas plans. She instantly realizes he is trying to invite her over on Christmas Eve and teases him before declining because she already has plans. At the same time, Yu rejects another student's invitation and shyly admits that she already likes someone else. Their friends secretly watch nearby, and Yu casually remarks that friends should step in before a rejection becomes too awkward. Maki remembers that the school is holding a large Christmas party with other schools, but the registration deadline has already passed. Since he ignored the announcements back when he barely knew Umi, he regrets missing the chance to spend Christmas with her. During lunch, Nina tells him not to lose hope because she is skipping the party to spend time with her new boyfriend, an upperclassman who confessed during the festival. Even then, Nozomu continues quietly observing Maki. Later, Nozomu approaches him and asks to talk. Since classmates rarely seek him out, Maki becomes nervous and even wonders if he is about to get extorted. Instead, Nozomu bows and asks for help with Yu. He explains that he devoted himself to baseball and never cared about romance until he fell in love with Yu at first sight. Watching her from afar had been enough, but with only 4 months of school left, he realizes he may never get another chance. He asks to become Maki's friend so he can eventually be introduced to her. Maki apologizes and refuses because he dislikes his reason for approaching him. Surprisingly, Nozomu accepts the rejection and admits he probably seemed suspicious. He even says he respects Maki more because he expected someone as meek as him to simply agree. Maki admits he has changed, but still has a long way to go before becoming as cool as the person he admires. On the way home, Umi says she no longer feels like attending the Christmas party because students from Tachibana Girls Academy will be there. Since she already paid for her ticket, she plans to eat as much as possible and leave early. She casually mentions that the party will end around 8 or 9, and Maki immediately understands the hint and promises to prepare snacks for afterward. When he gets home, he catches Misaki smoking. She apologizes, but he knows she has had a difficult year and does not mind. Her words remind him of the first time he saw her smoking during her divorce proceedings with Itsuki. Back then, he had quietly handed her coffee and asked if she was all right. The next day, Yu excitedly asks if she can join Maki and Umi's Christmas gathering because she had wanted to spend Christmas Eve with Umi and only learned about the plans afterward. After hearing the details, she starts teasing them for acting like a couple, but Umi immediately denies it. So Umi simply invites her to join them. At school, Nozomu finally asks Yu to speak privately. Umi and Nina consider following them, but decide Yu can handle herself. Nina casually remarks that things would be different if Maki were confessing to Yu, instantly irritating Umi. As everyone expected, Nozomu gets rejected. His friends immediately gather around him and begin planning how to cheer him up on Christmas Eve. Meanwhile, Umi goes to check on Yu, and Nina tells Maki to speak with Nozomu before his friends influence him in a bad way. Maki finds him and gently points out that he rushed things. When Nozomu asks what everyone is saying about him, Maki jokingly replies that they were speaking an alien language, so he did not bother translating. Realizing Maki is protecting him from gossip, Nozomu laughs. When Maki asks what he will do now, Nozomu says he will move on, though both of them know it is not that simple. Nozomu then asks if he and Umi are dating. Maki explains their complicated situation, and Nozomu advises him to make things official soon because Umi has become increasingly popular after the festival and he has plenty of competition. And despite rejecting him earlier, Maki finally accepts his friendship. The two even start calling each other by their first names. The next day, Umi visits his house and immediately asks for coffee. During their conversation, Maki tells her about becoming friends with Nozomu, and although surprised, she says she is happy for him. Remembering Nozomu's advice, Maki nervously asks if she wants to watch a movie over the weekend. Since they usually meet on Fridays, he wants to spend time together on other days too. Umi happily agrees, making him him unexpectedly giddy, but she immediately declares that they need to go shopping first because he cannot wear his usual clothes on their date. On Friday, Yu joins them for shopping. The district is crowded, and someone accidentally bumps into Yu. Maki quickly catches her before she falls, and while holding his hand, she comments that it feels rougher than she expected. Umi instantly steps between them. Although she insists she is fine, both of them realize she has become unusually possessive. They keep walking, and Maki grabs Umi's hand so they do not get separated in the crowd. To his surprise, she intertwines their fingers instead, and Yu secretly smiles. After spending hours trying on clothes, Maki receives a message from Umi telling him where they are waiting and how excited she is for tomorrow. Just as he leaves the restroom to meet them, he accidentally bumps into someone and sends several papers scattering across the floor. He kneels to help pick them up, then freezes when he realizes the person standing before him is Itsuki. Maki briefly talks with Itsuki about the last time they met. Itsuki apologizes for not spending more time with him and explains that he is leaving a work meeting. Although Maki worries that his father is overworking himself, Itsuki assures him that he is fine. Soon, a woman named Kyoka arrives and reminds Itsuki that they need to leave. Introduced as his subordinate, she politely greets Maki before the two depart. At that moment, Maki receives messages from Umi and Yu asking where he is. He rejoins them, and Yu immediately reveals that Umi was worried about him, earning an embarrassed glare from her. The three have grilled meat together, but Umi notices that Maki keeps zoning out. He insists that he is simply hungry. During dinner, Yu starts with ice cream, and when Umi scolds her, she points out that Umi mixed cream into her soda earlier. Watching them bicker, Maki smiles and decides to stop dwelling on old memories and focus on making new ones. The next day is his long-awaited date with Umi. As he gets ready, the doorbell rings, and he finds Umi outside, shivering from the cold. After giving her a hot drink, he notices her outfit. Thinking he is staring, Umi becomes embarrassed and admits she regrets wearing a skirt because it is freezing, but she chose it because she wanted him to think she looked pretty. She even came early, so he would be the first person to see her. Trying to hide her embarrassment, she asks for his opinion. Maki honestly tells her that she took his breath away and looks beautiful, making all her effort feel worthwhile. As they head out, they start holding hands because of the cold. Maki becomes flustered and nearly pulls away, but Umi only tightens her grip and teases him. Looking at their reflection in a window, he thinks they finally resemble a real couple. Since she even picked out his clothes for the day, he asks her to keep teaching him how to date properly, making her laugh at how sweet he sounds. At the theater, Maki is shocked to discover that she booked seats in the couple section. Umi sees no problem with it and immediately wraps herself around his arm, pointing out that everyone else is cuddling too. When she asks if he dislikes being close to her, he quickly denies it. Ironically, they choose a romance movie to make the date feel more couple-like, but Umi sleeps through most of it. Afterward, she complains that they should have watched something they would both enjoy instead and starts talking about a ridiculous movie called Dead End Shark, about a cyborg shark fighting a kraken and an android. The two become so excited imagining the absurd story that they regret not watching it. They later eat at a cafe and laugh over sharing the same complaint about the tiny portions. Umi suggests getting burgers next time, and Maki immediately adds fries to the plan. Their next stop is karaoke. Since he has never been to one before, Maki hesitates, but Umi sees it as a chance to try something new together. She sings first and impresses him with both her voice and score. When she asks him to sing, he becomes nervous, so she suggests a duet instead. Before he can refuse, she hands him a microphone and starts moving to the music to encourage him. Though shy at first, Maki gradually sings louder, and soon both of them are happily swaying to the music and genuinely enjoying themselves. By the time they leave, it is already dark. Umi praises his singing, but Maki says he only managed because she was there. Since it was his first time singing in front of someone, he is glad it became a happy memory. As the temperature drops, Umi slips her hand into his pocket to share his hand warmer and leans against him. Then she quietly asks how he feels about her. The question reminds him of her promise to kiss him once he admits his feelings. Maki asks if she truly wants to hear the answer right then, and although she says she will not force him, she genuinely wants to know. Realizing how crowded the area is, she tells him to whisper it into her ear instead. Maki leans closer to answer, but Umi suddenly jumps away because his breath tickles her ear. After gathering herself, she lets him try again. Before he can speak, someone calls his family name. Turning around, Maki sees Itsuki and Kyoka nearby. Umi asks if he knows them, and he quietly explains that Itsuki is his father and Kyoka works under him. The sight instantly makes him feel sick, and he wants to leave before they are noticed. Seeing his distress, Umi suddenly pulls him against her chest and hides his face, while Itsuki and Kyoka walk past them. When they are gone, she finally lets him go. Maki apologizes and says his father technically did nothing wrong. Soon afterward, he suggests ending the date. When Maki returns home, he finds Misaki smoking on the balcony again. She apologizes, but he reminds her that he no longer minds. She admits that work and several other problems have been exhausting her. Trying to change the subject, she asks about his date. Maki tells her about the movies, karaoke, and spending time with Umi, describing the entire day as warm and comfortable. Then she mentions that Itsuki has been insisting on meeting him next Friday. During the divorce, they had agreed that Itsuki could have dinner with Maki once a month until he graduated from high school. Despite everything, Maki never hated his father and always enjoyed their meetings. Still, his thoughts return to seeing Kyoka with Itsuki. He begins wondering whether their relationship started after the divorce or while his parents were still together. Noticing him turning pale, Misaki asks if something is wrong. Maki quickly blames it on waking up too early because he was excited about his date. As she prepares dinner, he suddenly asks if she still loves Itsuki. Misaki pauses before admitting that she does. There are times when she does not even want to see his face, yet she could never throw away the family photo albums filled with memories of the three of them together. Surprised, Maki learns that she still keeps every album, including pictures from before he was born. After his bath, they look through them together, and as Misaki fondly recalls old memories, Maki realizes how hard she struggled after the divorce and how long it took her to recover. Because of that, he decides not to ask about Kyoka and quietly keeps his worries to himself.
And that is it for today. If you enjoyed this recap, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and feel free to write whatever you want in the comments section. Thank you for watching.